Hey guys, welcome back. Today what I'm going to be doing is a resin scene beach stool, which I've done before. I have this one over here that has about 10 layers on it. So I'm going to be doing another one of those. And I want to teach you guys a little bit about how I do my opalescent kind of look. So for this, what I did is I started by painting just normally like a beach scene, starting with the darker blue, fading into lighter, and going to the sand. And then what I did is I took the cellophane, and for the sand I put it down pretty smoothly, just kind of pulled off some pieces and glued them down. But for the water, I took them in strips and I glued them down and then came back and kind of pinched them into like wave formations so that they kind of have like these ridges and are going to give it a little texture as well. So I glued that down and I've waited a couple days for the glue to dry, and now what I'm going to do is actually take a heat gun and just kind of really try to melt it on there. I've tried just melting this onto the wood and it doesn't work. It'll stay, but it doesn't really stick very well. So that's why I've had it glued down. I've let it dry, and now I'm going to come in with my heat gun and make sure that everything kind of sticks down. Stopped a little bit before I was done because I want to actually bring you guys in to show you the difference that the heat gun is making, because it actually smooths it down a little bit, but it actually adds a little like iridescence to it as well. So let me bring you in really quickly. Alright, so here we are at the sand. When you heat it up, it actually brings out a lot of this more pinkish red color, so that's awesome. And then you can see here, it just kind of melted it down a little bit. It makes it not raise up so high because these are up pretty high. So I would have to use a lot of resin to really get in there. But this kind of just like makes sure, like it gives them texture, but not at such like, at it being so high. And then it also adds like this element of color. Like you can see the red stripping through there and whatnot. That's from the heat adding like extra color from when it's heating it up. So I'm going to finish heating this up, and then I will be back to show you guys my first layer. Okay, before I start mixing my resin, I kind of wanted to show you guys what I use to color my beach scenes. So I start off with Stardust Mica's Blue Ice, and I love that one. And then I go to Stardust Mica's Blue Lagoon, which is my favorite. And then my friend Jan sent me some amazing pigments from Australia. This is like a green gold, and I love it. And then for the sand, I used unbleached titanium. And as well as the pigments, I am also going to add into these Ghost Diamond Blue for the blue ones, and Ghost Blue Petal. So for these top two ones, I'll put the ghost colors in there. And then for the green one, I'm going to put Ghost Diamond Green. And for the sand, I'm going to put Ghost Gold Pearl. Now, I've also went ahead and made my own glitter for each layer. Now, I made each of these by hand. They're all holographic or iridescent. And to kind of color coordinate with each layer. And what I'm going to do is put the resin in and add just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of each pigment because I want this to be really, really, really transparent, because I already have the film down and I have the background painted, so I don't really need to add much color, just a little bit, so that it'll give it like this motion. And what the ghost pigments are going to do is give it an extra iridescent look to it. So this is going to be a super iridescent and shiny beach scene, and I'm excited to create this with you guys. So I will mix my resin and be back when that is all ready for you guys. Okay, so actually before I start mixing my resin into this, I'm going to put in my pigments. So I want to show you guys just how much I'm going to add in. And this is a 1/4 teaspoon. So I'm just literally going to take like the tiniest little scoop. There's nothing in there, and that is all I'm going to use, and that might even be a little too much. So I'm literally just going to put half of what I had in there. And I'm going to do the same for the ghost pearl and the diamond blue as well. I honestly think I'm just not going to do the paint, because the paint ends up being pretty transparent every time, or not transparent, pretty opaque every time, because it only takes about 10% of paint to resin to dye it. So I always end up putting way more than I need to, and so I'm just not going to risk it and not add in the paint this time. But I will be back when I'm done mixing all those together, and I'm going to lay everything down. So for my final layer, before I go ahead and put the waves on, what I do is I'm going to go ahead and outline the stool so that you can't see the edges of the paper. And my husband gave me that amazing tip because you're making your pigments so transparent that you will see the edges of the paper. So that's why I put this border around the edge. And you can either do it before the waves or after, but I like doing it before because then it kind of gives it this cool, crazy 3D look of like the waves coming through the painting. So I will be back to show you the edge, and then you guys can go off and make your own iridescent beach scenes. Okay, here we are outside with the stool. I just kind of wanted to show you just really like how iridescent it is in the sunlight and how it kind of really glows at some angle because of the ghost pigments and not others. It's harder to see in the sun, but when you get it inside, like if I can get in the shadows a little bit, I can kind of show you, but it really like glows. And that's really cool to me. So you guys can decide how you want to do your waves for this. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. And I will see you guys on the next video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much.